The Commando is a really awesome class that does a variety of things well. He's pretty much well suited for any role on a team in station control. He's got a high single target damage ability in his rocket launcher. He has a area of effect damage ability called Grenade Launcher, which can damage multiple opponents at the same time. And he also has a powerful defensive ability called Utility Shield, which allows him to absorb enemy damage for a short duration. This makes him well suited for pretty much any task in the game, whether that's going toe-to-toe with an assassin or an infiltrator, or rushing a control point and taking the turret fire for his team. The Commando is really well suited for pretty much any job, and a well-played Commando has a very high skill cap because of this versatility. In addition, because of the Commando's archetype, the Space Marine kind of gritty grunt type of class, if you will. He also has a very low barrier of entry. Most people who pick up the Commando realize that they're picking up a Space Marine, a guy that's going to be making things explode and rushing to the front lines and really going toe-to-toe with the enemy. And as a result, that's pretty much how he plays in Station Control. It's a lot of fun. It's an excellent class for someone who really wants to, go with the game flow and change gears for his team depending on the need when the situation arises. And he's just a really great starter class too. One that you can pick up for the very first time without ever playing the game and be very effective for your team. So yeah, that's pretty much the Commando. Let's take a minute and talk about the Assassin. The Assassin uses Zero Tools model from the game, and has the Blink ability, which is really cool. I believe that the Blink ability was actually one of the only stock abilities that I kept from the original StarCraft 2 data, simply because it just worked so well for a melee DPS character. The Assassin really plays very evasively. The Blink ability has about a 5-second cooldown, and so not only can the Assassin blink into melee range to do damage, he can also blink out of range of an opponent who's about to kill him. So he's very slippery. He has two melee attack abilities. One is Severing Slice, which is a high damage ability that has a snare attached to it. And then he also has the Rapid Strike ability, which is a kind of a peppering strike that does low damage but has a very quick cooldown. So the Assassin, typically speaking, blinks into melee range, a lot of times behind an opponent, hits them with that hard Severing Slice, which slows their run speed, and then peppers them with attacks until they're finished off. In terms of balancing the Assassin, I would say that it was the most complex class to balance, simply because of the fact that it's a melee class and the rest of the classes in the game are ranged. And on paper, you can have all the numbers adding up in terms of damage per second and things like that, but there's a lot of intangibles that go into balancing a melee character in a game like this. Things like how many strikes can the assassin get in, before the opponent starts running away, or how many strikes can they get in while he's chasing an opponent. How long does it take to get into melee range without blink as a cooldown? When the other characters can essentially get free shots in on the assassin before he's able to even get a chance at landing a strike. So not an easy class to balance. It took quite a few iterations in order to get the assassin to that really good spot of like, yes, this feels powerful in the right situations, yet the weaknesses are there and they're appropriate for the class. Where it's at right now feels really good, and it's a lot of fun to play. The assassin is slippery, crafty, and really devastating if you catch them off guard. The Infiltrator is a high damage single target DPS class that is a lot of fun to play. It's a little bit different from the Assassin in that it's a bit more positionally focused and takes a more calculated approach to doing damage. So whereas when you're playing the Assassin, you're toe-to-toe with the enemy, you're trying to stay in their face as much as possible, doing as much burst DPS as you can. If you're playing an Infiltrator, you're really trying to set up the right position and the right moment to catch your opponent off guard and damage them that way. So, for example, the Psionic Boost ability allows the Infiltrator to increase their movement speed and cloak from vision at the same time. This allows them to slip in and out of combat range unnoticed by the enemy team. They can use this ability to avoid incoming damage, or they can use it to set up that perfect position to get off a few sniper rounds on their opponent. They also have a crowd control ability called Psionic Prison. This allows them to disable an opponent for a short period of time. This is really useful for singling out an opponent for your team to focus fire, or for escaping an enemy that's chasing you while you're low on health. With the Infiltrator, as you learn to time your Psionic boosts and time your prisons, you're going to notice that you're weaving in and out of the battle seamlessly. You'll be finding opportune moments to finish off weakened players with a perfectly timed sniper round, or to imprison an enemy player as they're trying to run away from your team. Really, the opportunities for the Infiltrator are endless. It's a very diverse class that's really good at just a lot of different roles for a team. I highly recommend giving it a shot. It's a lot of fun. Juggernaut is a defensive-based class that specializes in defending control points and supporting the front lines of his team by using his Team Shield ability, as you can see here, which absorbs incoming damage for his allies surrounding him. And he also has the unique ability to place flame turrets on the ground to help add extra DPS and absorb some enemy fire as the enemy tries to DPS down the turrets to make sure that they're not doing prolonged damage to their side. The Juggernaut is a really fun class. I think in terms of my playstyle, I really enjoy the Juggernaut quite a bit. And a well-played Juggernaut can be amazing against the Zerg Swarm that pop up through the Metal Swarms around the map periodically through the game. So yeah, that's pretty much the Juggernaut. Let's take a look at some of our other units.